I want to just ask you first about the program that you've brought to us, because in some ways it's a fascinating thing. You've brought us story ballets without their stories. And could you talk a little bit about what it's like to have us depend on the dancing to give us the character and personality in these classic works from the 19th century?
Well, I wanted to present, because I thought, I think, not I thought, but I think I have such a wonderful group of people, such abundance of the dressing rooms are here, such an abundance of talent and beautiful artists and wonderful dancers. So I wanted to, of course, I wanted to present choreography, and classical choreography, petit pas, Bournonville, a little bit of Harlander, Danish choreographer from the 20th century. But it was really to showcase them and of course, then the legacy of Bournonville, but also petit pas, because I think that the Danes have always had a link to petit pas, just as they have had to Balanchine. And these are the three choreographers that I wholeheartedly and truly believe in as a base for this company. Well, of course, Bournonville, but the other two, Balanchine and Petit Pas, right after him.
Could you talk a little bit about what staging means for it? So Petit Pas, Bournonville, the work exists, but where does staging come in, and what does that mean?
I think staging means, first of all, looking at the dancers. What suits the dancer? Yes, there is the choreography, which is handed down, and I mean, these days, my God, everything is recorded. I mean, even, you know, like Norno, and he has recordings from 55, and ever since the Danes came here, and so it goes also for the Balanchine steps and the Petit Pas like tonight. So I think what is important when staging these things is that you look at the dancers, you have to be true to the choreography, you have to be true to the vernacular of each, the language of each choreographer, but you also do have to look at who you have in hand. Whether it's a Holly Dorger or a Jamie Crandall or a Ida Pretorius, a Andreas Kroos, whoever, Jonathan Smelinski. So you have to adapt.
So that the personality of the dancers is going to come through.
Yes, and I think also it's always a fine line, because you don't want to only cater to a dancer's certain amplitude of forces, or whatever he or she is good at. But you also have to take that into consideration, and then it's also very much casting. Is this a jumping part? Is this a turning part? Is this quick footwork part? Whatever. Is this slow legato or the speed of light? And in that respect, you also can cater to these people's special talent. If you only cater to their talents, they will probably, what do you say, wane? There are certain things in them that will never be developed. So it's also, you have to, it's a fine line, because it's a bit of push me, pull me, yeah?
I want to ask you about two of the works in particular, and first Kermesse in Bruges. This is my first time seeing it live. And I find it a delightful work. So it's the one where they're in, if you're keeping track of your pas de deux, it's the one where they're in blue, and it has a kind of flirtatious quality to it. Yeah. And could you talk a little bit about that sort of 19th century sentiment choreographed by Bournonville and revisiting it in the 21st century, and how you keep to what he set out to do in the relationship between the dancers, and then the relationship among these two dancers?
Well, the thing about Kermesse especially is that they, from the very beginning of the pas de deux, they do exactly the same steps, and it's in that respect it's very much the French vocabulary, the French school, which Bournonville came from. But in the equality in this pas de deux is so astounding until they come to the variations. The whole adagio is really like a conversation between the two of them. And I think probably, we don't know, we can only guess, but probably during the time of Bournonville, it has been extremely innocent and extremely, you say demure? Yeah, very, very somber, and there is a certain flirtatiousness to it. I wonder if this is something that over the years have crept in. I am not sure. I learned it from Hans Breno, who was the sort of the grand old man of Danish ballet and really Bournonville connoisseur. And at that time we were very ingénus. We were very
sort of somber in it.
Very. I think now maybe they're a little more flirtatious. I wouldn't call it that's a sexual
it still has a kind
vibe,
of, right, and it still has kind of an innocence
but
to
there's
it.
they also you have to realize that Andreas Koos and Ida have done this since they were probably 16, 17.
Wait, I did hear that they were in school. They've been in school together since they were 8.
Since they were this big. Yeah.
So the other one I want to ask you about is the Dvorak Pardon, choreographed, pardon my English pronunciation of Harold Lander's name, made originally for TV.
Yes.
So already kind of a different kind of perspective from something that was meant to be seen, viewed in with a very particular frame, and now you're putting it back out in front of a live audience. Could you just say something about that? Because it's a 20th century work by somebody who comes from that tradition, but it also has a kind of more modern feel to it.
Yes, and I think for that, it really, that was meant as a real showcase of Tony Lander, his ex-wife, who was a ballerina, the Danish Ballet, then later on London Festival Ballet, which is now English National Ballet, and then of course she became very well-known and respected, beautiful ballerina with American Ballet Theatre.
I was thinking that he must have still been in love with her when he choreographed that, because it's such a beautiful part.
And I also think, she was known for her clean, streamlined exactitude of technical execution. She could turn for days, and she could balance, and you see all this. It was really I think Hal really made it like almost like a showcase or a vehicle for Tony. And then her husband at the time, Bruce Marks, who wasn't as virtuoso as Tony, but had a lot of drama and a lot of character in his dancing, and you see that also the way Jon Axel does it. There's all these sort of Slavic traces or traits in the choreography.
Which one do you wish you were? Which of the pas de deux do you wish you were dancing this week, and why? Yeah.
Oh no.
No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so you don't have to go on tomorrow.
Then you really have to. Then you really have to turn the light off.
No, but which one? Which of these did you love dancing when?
I think when I was a kid, the first thing I learned out of all this was, I think I was 16, and I learned the Kermesse in Bruges, and I loved it. And then I think I grew out of it. At one point I was like, to be all, Eton schoolboy was at 25, 26, it was a little bit like, enough. I think what I really loved was La Sylphide, which followed me from I was about 18 till I retired when I was 40. I lived with it my whole. Even one of the first things when I was a kid and entered the ballet school in Copenhagen, in the first act there was this famous Scottish reel, where there are 3 children's couples going through the reel, and I danced right in front of James, and I thought one day I will, and I did. I mean, I was so assumptuous as a kid; it was amazing. Probably still am, but So it was really a ballet that has been with me since I was 9.
And so now with a very different perspective of looking
but
at it.
But I wouldn't want to dance it tonight. And you wouldn't want to see it.
This is the only pas de deux we have to do this evening.
Yeah,
That's what we're
okay,
doing right
okay,
now.
that's good, that's good.